Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day out there, even though I know Super Bowl 58, Chiefs, 49ers. If you haven't already voted, go vote at the live poll at above who you think is going to end up winning, or maybe who ultimately you're going to be rooting for. Coming up today on the Raiders Report, we're going to be talking about the latest going on around the Raiders OC searches. We're going to get into some latest news and rumors on top of that. There is a report out right now that the Las Vegas Raiders have a secret OC candidate that apparently the report's coming from Hondo Carpenter. He said that he was not given a name, but it was a big name, former NFL head coach. So on today's show I'm going to give you 5 people that I believe Hondo is referring to. Again, in his report, he says that he doesn't even know the name himself. However, I'm going to try to connect some dots here and guess who this secret OC candidate is going to be. And then one of the things that I've been wanting to do on this show for a long time, because we talk so much about, Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, but then we also, this past week, have been talking a lot about the OC room, and we talk about quarterbacks, it seems like every single day. So what I tried to do today is look at every single current Raiders OC candidate and match them with who I believe is the best quarterback for them overall. Some are going to be in the draft, some are via a trade, some are going to be free agency, but we're going to mix and match to give you more of a clearer picture of, hey, if the Raiders go out and they hire Kliff Kingsbury, here are the quarterbacks that I want. Hey, if the Raiders go out and they hire, Luke Getsy, hey, these are the quarterbacks that I want. If the Raiders end up hiring Klint Kubiak, these are the quarterbacks that I want. As always, if you want to get those questions, comments on the show, use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get up here on screen. Who do you think the secret OC is? I know it's a little bit of a difficult conversation, and all I know from what the report is based on, wrong answers only. No, I didn't read the title. Oh, man. So apparently it's a very well-known coach with former NFL experience. I was going to say, the wrong answer here is Gruden. That should be wrong answers only. Just says Kliff. Again, who do you think is the secret OC? It can't be Kliff Kingsbury because
McDaniels?
We already know him. There's no way it's Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels.
Oh, absolutely not. I think I would rather any other person that has a pulse rather than Josh McDaniels back here again. Arthur Smith from Stack. See, I think that's a decent answer there. Adam Gase from Grawl. Hugh Jackson from Max Santana. Papa Bear from Willy Wonka. I don't even know who.
Tony Dungy.
Papa Basacci, is that who you're talking about? Mike Vrabel from Die Hard Raider fan. Frank Reich from Taino Raider. I Am Punchy says Bill Belichick.
Tony Dungy.
Andy Reid. Tony Dungy. Interesting. I thought about Herm Edwards, right? Because they brought in Antonio Pierce. You bring in Marvin Lewis on top of that. Bill Walsh, Kubiak, Pete Carroll. I like some of these names. I will admit, some of the names that y'all have put in here are on the show. And what I did was
Peyton Manning, Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett. Wow. If it's Jason Garrett.
That's a whole nother clap emoji. That's a whole nother level of the clap emoji.
Jeff Fisher.
See, we're trying to not be 500.
Bring back the fish man.
If you want to finish 500 for a season, you hire Jeff Fisher, which really kind of hurts his bit ever since now the teams go to 17 games.
Lane Kiffin.
I'll tell you what, it's an interesting name. Bottom line is this. I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you my top 5 candidates of who I potentially think this secret OC candidate is. Again, the report is from Hondo Carpenter. Let's go to Rashissimo Lock. Raider fans, worst nightmare, 2 rivals in our stadium for the Super Bowl. Tired of, but I hope they both lose. Yeah, I saw. At first, I thought it said something else, so I just totally skipped it. Rashissimo, this morning, last night was probably the most frustrated and upset I have been on a day where the Raiders did not play. You know what I mean? Like, you wake up Sunday morning, AFC Championship game, Chiefs, Ravens, and let's face it, the Baltimore Ravens did not deserve the win that game. Kansas City outplayed them in every single stretch of the imagination. Kansas City deserves to win. Then the one, though, that hurt, though, was Lions-Niners. You're up 24-7. Feeling pretty damn good going into halftime, but I've seen enough Josh McDaniels games to know that, hey, nothing can be trusted just because you're at the lead at halftime. So the fact that it's going to be Niners, Chiefs, it's definitely a tough one to swallow. After last night going through some football depression ever since the tuck rule, haven't enjoyed many Super Bowls, need some Raiders therapy, hire Kliff. Well, I can tell you this. When the Raiders do finally announce that they're going to be hiring an OC, we will be live on this show, and we're going to be partying. That I can guarantee you. I got to give a shout-out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. And if you're wondering, Mitch, what are your picks for the big game? Don't worry, I got you covered. Go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS. That tells PrizePicks that you're coming here from the Raiders Report. All you got to do is pick 2+ players, choose more or less. And if you're wondering, well, where can I get that link? Chug just threw it to you down in the comments. And it's also down in the description of the video. But PrizePicks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. And I'll tell you this, if you're a Raider fan out there, this is the perfect game to do PrizePicks. Why? I don't want the 49ers to win. I don't want the Chiefs to win. So I'm going to be watching a game hoping that I can at least win some money. So here are my picks for PrizePicks. They do have a deal right now on Patrick Mahomes, and if he gets more than half a passing yard, you get a win there. I'll tell you this, if he doesn't, that's not
first play.
No, see, you can't bring that into the existence
Dude,
here.
PrizePicks?
Brock Purdy at 11.5.
Ruined.
Brock Purdy at 11.5 rushing yards. I feel like that's a pretty good one. Isaiah Pacheco has scored a touchdown in 7 straight games, so give me the more on that one. And then Kyle Juszczyk needs half of a fantasy point. He needs 1 catch. He had 2 catches yesterday, 3 catches in the other playoff game. I am a believer that Kyle Juszczyk is going to catch the football 1 time. If this happens, I put down 20. I have a chance to win $200. I'm not going to lie. I feel pretty confident most weeks going into PrizePicks. This week is the one that I feel more confident than just about any week. So, again, you want to get started, it's PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. So I see the live poll right now says 80% Niners, but I want to see where the live chat is at. Who you got in the Super Bowl? And this is, I want to know who you want to win. When Chugs and I are going to be out in Las Vegas, we're going to be doing a Super Bowl 58 watch party. We're going to be hanging out with the nation in person. Like, what team are you going to be rooting for? I'm telling you right now, I do not want Kansas City to win. I think I saw a comment earlier. It was like, I'm not going to root for the Niners, but it's FKC. On Super Bowl Sunday, I will be rooting for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm telling you, I would rather see Brock Purdy. I think it's a better story. Rather them get a win in Allegiant Stadium than Kansas City. But at the same time, I'm not from the Bay Area, right? Like, I've talked to some people that grew up in the Bay Area, and it's a lot different of a type of rivalry. So for me personally, I'm going to be rooting for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see what you guys have to say. I see Oshkosh going to go with the Chiefs. Luda, Chris, Benjamin, the Cal G going to go with the Niners. I would say right now it's pretty similar to what that live poll says up at the top. Joe Gatlin's going to be going for the Chiefs. King Shav, Niners. Willy Wonka, Chiefs. Eric M., I just got your jersey. FKC, Joe Gatlin, Chiefs. Juice, 49ers. Cloud, 40. Who? Well, then that means you're rooting for the Chiefs. Though I was told today that the Chiefs don't get more calls than any other team in the NFL. You were a part of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of our coworkers here at Chat Sports seem to think that we're delusional that the Chiefs get a lot of favored calls during games.
Yeah, I know.
And that we're just crazy.
Yep.
We don't see, I mean, Travis Kelce didn't bump into anybody for them to get a personal foul. He just happened to be wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, that's usually what it is, man.
I mean, the fact that the Ravens got 4 personal foul penalties to the Chiefs none is a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Nathan's right. They're the luckiest team ever. Just like how the Patriots were the luckiest team ever with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Best part of the Super Bowl will be Jason Kelce's drunk antics. F both the teams.
I did think of one silver lining.
Okay.
For this game, for Raider fans.
I'm listening.
Is that at least you'll know that one of your hated rivals' fan bases is going to be absolutely crushed on Sunday.
You're not wrong.
Like, they made it to the Super Bowl, but at least revel in the fact that if the Chiefs lose, Chiefs fans are going to be going crazy. They're going to be so mad and upset.
They're going to be upset. I like that. At least one fan base is going to be upset. And if it is Kansas City, they're obviously going to be like, well, at least we made it to the Super Bowl. I'm just going to say, well, we won the last matchup.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. We won the last time we faced y'all.
Actually, even technically in the preseason, too. Raiders beat the 49ers. There you go.
Right?
Raiders, real Super Bowl champs right there. What's up, Real Cowboy? Appreciate you getting in here on the show. We got 1,000 people here in the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you click that like button right now. And when the Raiders do finally announce who their next OC is going to be, we're going to be live here on the channel. Actually, I see a message down there from Venom. He's got something for you. What's up? What's up, Venom? What's up, my brother? Shout out to Queen Sarah Otto. Shout out to Short Dog, Max Santana. It's not the amount of penalties KC gets. It's the important calls always go their way. I think I've said it before on this show, and I said it again. To me, I've never seen a team get the amount of calls, and especially get the calls in big-time situations. So, Max, I'm with you.
We're crazy for thinking that. No way do the Chiefs get any favorited calls whatsoever.
Jorge, I'm going for Team Zebra. What up, Martin, here in the chat? Anthony Kebab. Martin's got his English.
As you see, there's 2 ways to get up on the show. Either Super Chat or... if you use #Raiders, if I like your question, then I'll go ahead and throw it up.
True. I mean, it's got to be a good question. It's got to be a...
Edie Mazing has an interesting point. I wonder what other people think about this.
Okay.
I'd rather see Patrick Mahomes as the GOAT than Tom Brady.
Oh, man, that is a tough one to chew on. I think I'll say this. I totally disagree with this take because... well, that means that Patrick Mahomes is going to be dominating the AFC West, which that means, like, he's going to be dominating the Raiders for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Like, in order for Patrick Mahomes to surpass Tom Brady, he's got to, in my book, he's got to win another 5 Super Bowls.
I mean, the Patriots won what? 14, 15 straight AFC East titles?
I mean, I understand, like, people, you can like Patrick Mahomes more than you can like Tom Brady, but I don't want to see this because that means Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to dominate the Raiders for at least the next 12 years. So that means you're signing up right now for, let's say, the Chiefs to win 10 more AFC West titles from here on out. Like, I'm not going to do that. Who would you guys rather have be the GOAT, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes? Based on this logic,
Aiden O'Connell.
Yes. Sign me up. If you told me right now Aiden O'Connell's the GOAT, I'll admit he's not just a backup quarterback. DJ Loaded says, Tom, seeing a lot of TB12s. I get the fact that people do not like Tom Brady because of the tuck rule. To me, though, that's in the past. Like, that shit's already happened. Now I'm trying to move ahead to the future. And if this happens, then we're not going to be able to move on to the future. Speaking of the future, we got a tough decision to make here for OC. It has been reported by the Raiders that Klint Kubiak is going to be an OC candidate. The unfortunate part is the Raiders still cannot interview Kubiak because, well, the 49ers are still playing. However, I have been told by sources that Kubiak is still on the Raiders' radar. So it is something to at least keep in mind here. But it kind of makes it interesting because it was expected that the Raiders hired an OC this week. Now I don't know if that's exactly going to happen. I still am anticipating that it's going to end up being Kliff Kingsbury. But if you are interested in Kubiak, maybe you want to wait until after the games and then finally get that interview. Who do you think, though, is going to be the OC? Kubiak, Kingsbury, or if there's somebody else, type 3?
I haven't seen a single 3 yet. It's been mostly 2s with the peppering of 1s. There's been 1s here and there. Like Allen says 1, Willy Wonka says 2, Ed Robbins says 1, Cloud 2, Sienna 2. Sienna, glad you're back. All right, no, is that the right Sienna?
I think that's the right Sienna. I hope so. Yeah, because I saw that Sienna was talking earlier in the show. I'm hoping to this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to this.
We were trying yesterday,
Dude,
Sienna.
yesterday was unlike anything I've ever seen before. Though, we reported them so much that I'd be shocked if they were back. Eddie Perez typing 1. Mr. Spivey is going to go with 2. Sienna says, it is me. I changed my profile picture and name. I'm glad to see that.
We were fighting the good fight yesterday. I felt like I was, what is it, the Lord of the Rings, where he's like, hold!
Is that it? Or is that Hodor? I'm thinking of Hodor.
I'm thinking of where like they're holding the door. But also, Hodor. From Game of Thrones, also,
Hodor.
Hold the door! Hold it! That was
when me. You realize that, that's so sad.
I was Hodor yesterday. In the live chat.
You look like a Hodor.
Hold the door! Hold the door!
Oh, man. All right, man. We got 838 people here in the building. Get those likes up right now or else the queen, she's going to come looking for you. We got a few more super chats to roll through, and then I want to get into my segment here of trying to predict who this secret OC candidate is that Hondo Carpenter is speaking about.
the end of the day's show,
Okay.
50-50 raffle, $10 to enter.
Yep.
Anybody who wants to have a little bit of fun.
Hey, that's what it's all about here on the Raiders Report. Having just a little bit of fun.
Not too much.
Yeah, we don't want to get carried away. I will admit, I'm not drinking today, so there's going to be, I'm going to wear this jersey, and then I'm going to wear one more jersey. So if you're that person, I don't want to be hit with the Mitch, you owe me a boot. I'll tell you right now, if I get hit with a $100 and I got your jersey on, I will do a coffee boot. I'm not doing a beer boot because I cannot drink any alcohol today. There's no way.
Frank!
What's up, Frank? Raiders so far were the last team to beat Kansas City.
Facts.
I mean, when you talk about great defensive plays, and that's it. This is a hell of a stat that just popped up here. Patrick Mahomes, 14-3 in the playoffs. Peyton Manning, 14-13. I mean, it's just ludicrous how good he's been. What's up, Akash? From the Bay, rather have KC win than the Niners. And that's kind of how I've seen this, where if you're from, I talk to Graphic a lot. He's like, man, if you're from like the North Cal area, believe me when I tell you that, if you're from the Bay, people don't want to root for the Niners. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that you do have to choose a certain team. All I'm saying is I'm going to be excited, and I'm still going to watch the Super Bowl because I am such an NFL fan. And the amount of people yesterday saying, I'm not watching the Super Bowl, how can you as an NFL fan, right, like just a sports fan, Raiders fan, you're telling me on Super Bowl Sunday you're not going to watch the Super Bowl?
What are you going to be doing on that day rather than watching? Like, are you really going to be like, you know what? I'm really going to get into Game of Thrones today. I'm going to be watching Harry Potter marathons.
Unless you have a date with Sydney Sweeney, there's no excuse. You're watching the big game.
And, I mean, the date might be to take Sydney Sweeney to go watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Dude, I know there's a few people here in the office that would give up a few things to go on a date with Sydney Sweeney. I'm just saying. Milo says, Mitch, I'm not watching the Super Bowl. How about you just tune into the Raiders Report? We're going to be partying for the big game.
Ken said, I'd rather catch up on Yellowstone.
Yellowstone? I don't know. I think every single person's going to be watching the Super Bowl here. You might say that you're not, but it's okay. You can tell me. What up, Jay Roy? It's a lose-lose for the Raiders. Either way, Chiefs or Niner fans will target Raider Nation with memes of best moment in Allegiant Stadium history. You might not be wrong in that. And that's sometimes what needs to happen for you to be able to go to the next level. Like, if I'm the Raiders here, like, this is my honest opinion. If I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm looking at this as kind of like a blessing in disguise because I'm going to use that meme as motivation. Because if you're a member of the Las Vegas Raiders and you're on that team and it goes, well, wait a minute here. The Niners marched into our stadium. The Chiefs here at our stadium won a Super Bowl. That's bulletin board material. And if I'm, again, a head coach, a GM like Tom Telesco, if you see that the two biggest rivalries that you have are in your stadium for the Super Bowl, how can you then again say, I'm okay rolling with Aiden O'Connell. I'm okay going with a mediocre quarterback. Like, I see some type of shit like that. I look at Mark Davis and I go, how does that sit with you? Get me the opportunity to go up, and I don't care what it is, I got to go get my quarterback. If that means you're giving up the farm to get number one, you got to do it because you need to be able to put a team together that can compete with those top QBs. And I'll also say this about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback. I mean, what he was able to do yesterday, I get it. That Niners team is loaded. I mean, it is loaded. And if you were to ask me, who could the Raiders try to replicate quicker, finding that franchise QB like Mahomes or trying to build that incredible team like the Niners? I think the team like the Niners takes a longer time than just being able to find a quarterback because the Raiders have a lot of other pieces. Go get yourself a QB. What's up, Mr. Wolf? 2Fs. Read an article about the penalties we get and seems to be a lot of third and long against the Chiefs that we got them holding on Kuntz a couple years ago on a field goal. Call haven't got called in 20 years. I mean, the call that you're referring to was not called in 20 years and was only called 2 times. Both times in a Raiders-Chiefs game, both times the same official, both times against the Raiders. Both times on a field goal.
Mitch, that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean,
Mitch, there's no way the Chiefs ever get preferential treatment against other teams. There's no way Patrick Mahomes does. That's impossible for refs to give him, a different shake than other quarterbacks. That just would never happen in the world.
You can't imagine it. What up, Mr. Spivey? Kingsbury and Super Bowl bound. I love the confidence. I'm not going to say yes to that because there's no way that I'm going to ever make a Raiders prediction until I find out who the quarterback is. you could have the dream team of coaches, and right now the Raiders are building a pretty damn good staff, especially on that defensive side of the football. But, like, if you say, all right, I'm going to Kliff Kingsbury, and then we go, Aiden O'Connell, going to be our starting quarterback, you're not going to the Super Bowl. If it's, oh, hey, we're going to draft J.J. McCarthy and put him in a Kliff Kingsbury up, you're not going to the Super Bowl. Right? You're in the same exact situation you've been in. If it's Kliff Kingsbury as OC, and then you go up and get Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, or Drake Maye, I'll tell you what, I could be persuaded. What's up, Brandon? If Mahomes gets 7 rings in the combo of Brady versus Mahomes, we can start. Also, here's a shout out for locals for the best content.
Oh, you added another one.
I know, yeah, he threw an extra one in there. I'm not used to it. Locals for the best content, personal reactions, and more live shows. I don't even want to think about this, and that's just the truth. Like, I don't even want to have you're always going to have the conversation, just like we have the conversation Michael versus MJ, and I want the Mahomes conversation to be just like that one, where there is a lot of people that say, no, LeBron James is not better than Michael Jordan because he doesn't have as many rings. That's the type of conversation I want us to have, because I think there's going to be some people that look at Mahomes, and I'll tell you this, if anybody doesn't think that Mahomes is a more athletically gifted, talented quarterback than Tom Brady, you're crazy. Brady just might be the better winner. Real Cowboy, I just have to say it again, FKC and F the 49ers.
And you know
we
what?
had a lot of those flown in
If you want to get this show started, I have a quick question for you. If you want the Chiefs and the 49ers to lose the Super Bowl, if you want both teams to lose, go down and like the video. I want to see who wants both teams to lose the Super Bowl.
How many overtimes would it take?
7.
To a point where they're just like, let's just call this a tie.
Both kickers just shanking left and right. Everybody just dropping passes left and right.
What's the longest Super Bowl ever? Like, I don't even know that answer. Sounds like an article we could make. 940 people here in the stream. I see another super chat from Nick. It says, Mitch, I'd rather have the 49ers win than over the Swiftie. Oh, sorry. Really meant Kansas City. And Chugs and I were talking about it yesterday. Like, she was shown for, 24 seconds, which I know might not seem like a lot of time, but to me it's still kind of a lot of time for
somebody who has nothing to do with the game.
And then it's like, oh, it's a big issue because she's got to take a private plane from Japan to the Super Bowl. I feel bad. I really do. I hope one day in my life that's what I'm worried about, taking a private plane from Japan to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Someday.
I mean,
someday I'll have those problems.
The amount of stress that she's under right now, you don't even know. Like, if you had to, go out on your world tour that's sold out in a foreign country and then had to go to the Super Bowl the next day, you don't even know the amount of stress that's under her right now. So can you please just consider what she's going through? That would be very nice of you. God.
I'll tell you what, if we had I think I'm going to get that blonde wig, and that's going to be your persona for the Super Bowl. That right there. There's no way you'd ever get canceled. Coming up here live on the Raiders Report, let's get into a secret OC predictions report. Then I'm going to get into some OC and quarterback pairings. Also, if you want a chance to win a little bit of money today, we are doing a 50-50 raffle. It's going to be a $10 Venmo to get in. Right now, Justin Gilbert is the lone person in this race. Let's go to Dylan Erickson. I'll never root for the Chiefs. Respect Mahomes, the player, but he and his family are... I mean, his brother, yes. I will say his brother is a horrible human being. Besides that, I'm not going to say anything else besides that. I mean, he's a hell of a football player. You can't take that away from him, right? Like, there is nobody, and I mean nobody since Tom Brady, that has struck fear in the eyes of its opponent. I mean, he's in that conversation of Michael Jordan, like, of Kobe Bryant, where it's like, I don't care how the season went, when it is down to that line and it is mano-a-mano, who are you going with? I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, and it just sucks that he's in our division, but that's why if you're the Raiders, you got to try to find somebody that can at least compete with him on a regular basis, because if you don't, it's just going to be this over and over and over again.
Quick reminder for our 50-50 raffle, if you want to get in, $10, Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365 to get in. And we're going to start the show here in just a moment, but it's crazy. There's 900 people watching, only 300 likes. That means 600 people are rooting for the Chiefs or Niners.
It's wild.
I didn't realize that many Raiders fans were going to want the Chiefs or Niners to win the Super Bowl. But I guess since you didn't like the video, that's showing me that you want one of those teams to win. So I said if you want neither team to win, you would like the video. But, hey, you.
Gary Fake says Michael Jordan is the GOAT of all GOATs. You think? I don't know. I think it's worth a conversation.
Michael Phelps.
I mean, what? Does he still have the most gold medals, or is that Simone Biles now? Or if you want to talk about dominating a sport, it's probably Serena Williams. I mean, she was the best for 20 years. I still think if you put a racket in her hand, she's a top 5 tennis player.
Dale Earnhardt. Ever heard of him?
Jeff Gordon. Ricky Bobby. All right, secret OC.
Tiger Woods, yeah.
I mean, Tiger was great, but Serena dominated her sport more than what Tiger Woods did, no? I think so. If you want to talk about just at the peak in their sport, I don't think anybody's dominated more than Serena. Somebody said Pele.
Go down and like the video. Christian Andrade says, we don't like it because I'm a weak little man. Hey, if that's what you are, that's fine. Just go down and like the video regardless, Christian Andrade, even if you are a weak little man.
I mean, is it too? You have not enough strength to click the like button.
He's been trying for the past 10 minutes. He's been like,
I just can't do it.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I feel bad for you, man.
Can't do it.
You get it though. I promise. Sooner or later, you keep pushing through. Yep. Go get a spotter, and they'll get you. He's just stuck there right now. He's like, it's all right.
See, Wesley said I'm a weak little man, and I like the video. On Christian Andrade, you have no excuse. No excuse.
All right, man. I believe in you. I promise you. I believe in you. All right, coming up after this. The whole point is championship. Yes, talent-wise, Mahomes, but Brady has more rings than all other franchises. That has to say something. I'm with you, Brandon. I also think that you're going to have that conversation be a part of the Mahomes conversation as well, where let's just say Mahomes does get to the amount of Super Bowls that Tom Brady gets to. Well, Brady did it with 2 different head coaches and 2 different organizations, right? Like, that also is going to be thrown in because I'll sit up here and say that I think Andy Reid is going to go down as one of the greatest head coaches of all time. And with that pairing together, what I would like to see then Mahomes at some point, and I do think it's going to happen sooner rather than later because Andy Reid's getting up there in age, but Mahomes is going to have to win one without Andy. He could do it, I'm sure, because he's that good, but we'll see. What's up, Caps? Guys, no one is mentioning the worst part about the Super Bowl is the Queefs will be in our locker room. Again, the NFL hates the Raiders. In our locker room and practicing at the Raiders facility all week. It sucks, but I still say this. I would rather the Chiefs be in our locker room and practice on our field than not be in the Super Bowl at all. I hear you, though. What up, Devin? 2 of our most hated rivals pay off our stadiums. That's actually not a bad way to look at it. That's a glass half fuller. Like, people are always like, oh, Mark Davis is poor. You know how much money Mark Davis is going to freaking make from this game from both of the teams?
I'm pretty sure Petey makes more money per year than Mark Davis.
Mark Davis. I mean, the last time that we checked, the cheapest ticket that you could find was, I want to say, like $8,000. I would imagine $9,000 now.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for Mark Davis. He's no way. No way. He probably would use Vegas 100. He probably needs it.
Dude, I don't think Mark Davis could afford to go to the Super Bowl.
I don't think he can.
He'd have to liquidate some of his savings.
Probably. Jacob Peters, being from the Bay, I know way too many Niner fans, so I have to root for KC. Hope we trade up, get Kliff and JD5 to give us a shot at winning the division. You don't got to say sorry to me. You don't got to say sorry to anybody out there, and if anybody thinks that you do, believe me when I tell you this, like, that's kind of why I always find it hilarious when, you know, people that like to troll me are like, oh, this guy's a Cowboys fan. I'm like, just because I live down here in Dallas, Cowboys are one of my least favorite teams. It's my fiance's favorite team. And believe me, I know there's a lot of people out there watching the show right now that also have fiancés that are Cowboys fans. You're not going to root for that team. That I can promise you. Growing up in Pennsylvania, I couldn't stand the Eagles. Could not stand the Pittsburgh Steelers. Couldn't deal with it. My family, they're all New York fans. They're like Giant fans galore in my family. Jet fans galore. I never had a team growing up. So when you hear all this stuff, it's like, those are the teams that I root for against the most. So believe me when I tell you, Niners, I get it. Aggressive. The script has been written. Swift and Mr. Pfizer are going to parade around Mr. and Miss World Champs endorsing Sleepy Joe and the job. Yeah, there's a lot to unravel on that one. I'm not going to lie to you there. There's a lot. Mitch and Chugs, I pressed the like button and hate both teams. I'm voting 49ers, but wanted Lions versus Ravens. Everybody watching this show right now wanted Lions versus Ravens. Like, there's not a single person watching this show right now. I'm confidently in saying that. Like, there's not too many things that I say on this show where I'm like, all 1,025 people are watching agree. Every single person watching this stream right now wanted Lions, Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. All right, Chuggy Bowl, let's get into our first segment here on the show, and it's from a report from Hondo Carpenter, and I'm going to play a little detective work. I like playing detective work. Raider Sancho, also, you are in. Remember, $10 Venmo for a chance to win some money. Right now, you'd have the opportunity to win $30. Coming up, secret OC predictions here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, who is the Las Vegas Raiders' secret OC candidate? I'm going to play a little bit of detective work here, and I'm going to see what I can uncover. And I'm going to be ranking some of these candidates. And if you don't know what the report is, this one is from Hondo Carpenter, and he said this. There are still a lot of names out there, and I was told that there was one name that nobody has. I don't have them. I don't know who it is that could possibly get an interview that was a rather large, big-name coach, a former head coach. The person said, I am not going to tell you who it is, so I can truthfully tell you I have no idea who it is. But I was told it was a very well-known former coach. So what I'm going to be trying to do here today is I'm going to be ranking who I believe this secret OC candidate is from Hondo Carpenter. I'm going to be ranking him from 5 all the way down to 1. So, spoiler alert here, whoever I have ranked at number 1 is the person that I believe Hondo is talking about. So what do I want you to do? Put on your detective hat here and let me know what you're thinking. Who do you think the secret Raiders OC candidate is? And remember, previous head coaching experience, I'm going to look at some ties, I'm going to look at the tea leaves, but the person who I believe it is going to be coming up here at number 1. Anytime that we talk about OCs, anytime we talk about breaking news, there's going to be a lot of stuff to uncover. And I'm a big fan of where there's smoke, there's fire. This one's a little bit different. This one is where you have to look at the connections. You have to look at networking because the NFL is it's a small person league where they talk to a lot of the same people. You got to be able to network. So my guesses on who the secret OC is coming up right now. Let's go with number 5, and I'm going to say Eric Bieniemy. And some of you are going to be like, well, wait a minute, Mitch. He wasn't an NFL head coach. You're not wrong. He was an assistant head coach. So I'm just going to put Bieniemy on this list based off of some other things that have been reported around the NFL, other things that have been reported around the Las Vegas Raiders, because he was an assistant head coach twice. Maybe they would potentially look at him. One with the Vikings back in 2010, the Commanders this past year, he was assistant head coach and OC in 2023. And with, Washington still haven't really decided who their next OC is. Is he going to be out of a job? I believe that he is. The Raiders also made it known that they want to be able to hire people with knowledge of the AFC West. One of the things that Mark Davis noted in their intro press conference was one of the reasons why they ended up going with Tom Telesco is because of his experience in the AFC West from 2013 to 2023. And Bieniemy does have some success and does have that resume, especially in the AFC West. And here's the other thing, right? Like, if you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, a guy who's gone to all these Super Bowls already, he's got 14 freaking playoff wins, third most in the NFL, 6 straight AFC championship appearances, 8 straight AFC West titles. Can you find somebody that potentially gives you a competitive advantage to compete with him? That is Eric Bieniemy. I will also admit, because I say it on the show all the time, due to Fred Bilenikoff's daughter, and if you don't know the whole story, and some of Eric Bieniemy's, we'll call them past issues, this would be one of the reasons why I would say that they would not hire him. Let's go to number 4 here on my list of who the heck is the Raiders' secret OC Hondo Carpenter is describing. This name, Hugh Jackson. And I know some of y'all have heard of him before. Previously, he was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders back in 2011. Also, the Browns head coach from 2016 to 2018. And currently, the Grambling head coach from 2022 to 2023. He's got ties with the Raiders, and this is always a very common name that gets brought up here anytime that we talk about new head coaches, OCs, because of him previously being with the Silver and Black. He also has ties, though, with Arizona State. And I'm telling you right now, that has to mean something, concerning the fact that that's where Antonio Pierce is from. Marvin Lewis coached a little bit there. I mean, we're still talking about a 10-year differential and gap, but I just believe that NFL circles, college circles, they stay very close. Cincinnati is important because the Raiders do value Trey Brown. I know that Brown is not a part of this regime, but he has interviewed for the GM job now 3 times, 2019, 2022, and now in 2024. So I do know that they value his opinion. And we were talking about it literally, just a few days ago. I think it was on our Thursday show that Hugh Jackson does still have interest coaching in the NFL. One of my good friends down here in Dallas does a podcast with Hugh, or used to do a podcast with Hugh before he started coaching at Grambling, and he said that, yes, he absolutely is still looking to get back into the NFL. So I got 3 more candidates coming up here in just a second, but before I do, shout out to PrizePicks, and if anybody out there is like me, I don't want the Niners to win, I don't want the Chiefs to win. If I could figure out a way where both teams could lose in the Super Bowl, I would be all in. So you know what? I'm hoping I can at least win some money with PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And if you're wondering, Mitch, well, what are you rolling with for the big game? Patrick Mahomes, more than half a passing yard. This is the special deal that they have right now. So I look at this saying, all right, I only got to get 3 right because spoiler alert, this one's going to happen. Patrick Mahomes is going to have more than half of a passing yard. If Brock Purdy gets more than 11.5 rushing yards, he had over 50 yesterday. Isaiah Pacheco, 7 straight games with a touchdown. Give me the more there. And then Kyle Juszczyk needs 1 catch. He had 2 catches yesterday, 3 catches up against the Buffalo Bills. So to me, I put down 20. I got a chance to win $200. And if you're like, that sounds pretty damn good, guess what? Roll with it. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS. There is a reason why PrizePicks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Its quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Let's go to number 3 here on my list. It's Arthur Smith, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to say about a week and a half ago, I had a source reach out to me and said, hey, don't be shocked if the Raiders try to interview Smith if they want to try to run the football a little bit more, because that's kind of what Arthur Smith was known for back with his time when he was the OC with the Tennessee Titans. And I'll admit, he's definitely was a better OC than he was as a head coach. He seemed to be in a little bit over his head in Atlanta, but started coaching in the NFL and college back in 2007, has then basically been in the NFL since 2008. But he was the Falcons head coach for the past few seasons, and it didn't really go all that well, right? The quarterback play, they couldn't quite get that right. They were able to run the football pretty effectively. However, though, there are people that are close to Mark Davis in his ear. I'll tell you who it is. It's Tom Brady, who also is very highly thought, or thinks very highly of Arthur Smith because of his connections with Mike Vrabel. So I'm telling you right now, Arthur Smith is somebody to at least keep in mind to be this secret OC candidate. And what I actually just learned today, his dad owns FedEx. So as we know, Mark Davis is poor. I'm just kidding. But his dad owns FedEx, so maybe he doesn't actually need the money.
Hey, maybe he can help on the ground and in the air.
I'm with it. Let's go to number 2 here on our list, Adam Gase. And this is the one that I literally LOL. But Adam Gase does have some legitimate ties with the current Raiders regime. And I go back to thinking the old school days where Adam Gase would be up to a podium. And honestly, the picture that we have of him, it kind of reminds me of that. I mean, his just have no idea clue face. It's just unbelievable. But he was an old head coach with the Dolphins back in 2016 and 2018. New York Jets head coach from 2019 to 2020. And let's face it, again, another example here of horrible head coach, but people do still regard him as being a good offensive mind. Here's the other thing, though. He worked in the AFC West with the Broncos from 2009 to 2014. Currently working as an advisor with the Raiders with Marvin Lewis and Tom Coughlin. So you think about, this is the big note here. This is why Adam Gase is number 2 on my list. Here's another reason we're at the AFC West. And then he does have some previous head coaching experience. And the reason why his previous head coaching experience is important is because who he coached for, the Miami Dolphins. Guess who's got a lot of ties to Miami? Tom Brady, who's very close to Mark Davis. But guess what? None of those guys are the person that I believe Hondo Carpenter is referring to. There is one person that I think that it is, and I'm going to tell you who that is. So Here's your final chance for those of you watching live. Here's your final chance for those that aren't watching live. Who I think the Raiders' secret OC candidate is. Well, how about this? I'll tell you after I tell you about Chugs and I's awesome Super Bowl 58 watch party out in Las Vegas. And I know there's going to be some people that say, hey, man, I'm not going to watch the game. I doubt that. It's freaking Super Bowl Sunday. What else you going to do on the biggest day of the year for NFL fans? But here's how I'm just going to be real with y'all. This is a game that I don't want the Chiefs to win. I don't want the 49ers to win. It's a lose-lose situation at Allegiant Stadium. But I do not want Niner fans to take over Las Vegas. I don't want Kansas City to take over Las Vegas. And if you're in the same boat and you want to come hang out with Chugs and I, Ahern Hotel, show up at this time, 2 p.m. Pacific. We're getting started about 90 minutes right before kickoff. The address is right here. And if you're also wondering, all right, well, what does it look like from the outside? This is what it looks like from the outside, and where we're going to be putting on this event is going to be here at the showroom. Now, I don't have the Eventbrite link yet, but I am hoping I have it tomorrow where you guys can start reserving seats. And I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be $90 for all you can eat, and it's going to be $160 for all you can eat and all you can drink. It's still free to get into, but if you want to just reserve a spot to that way get your drink deal, get your food deal, you can do that. There's going to be boots there, so some of y'all are going to be able to take some boots. You're going to be do some shots with Chugs and I. We're going to have the game on one screen. We're going to have our watch party on the other screen. But if you like what Jeremy and I do, well, here's our opportunity to be able to show you what we do in person, party in person. And if I'm going to have to watch the Chiefs and 49ers play, I might as well do it with my friends and family. Shout out to the nation. So please, if you could, pull up. I wanted this event to go well. That way Chugs and I have an opportunity to do events every single game day this upcoming season. So who is it? Who is this mystery OC candidate that Hondo Carpenter is referring to? The person that I believe that it is Frank Reich, former head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And there's multitude of reasons why I believe that it's Reich. Yes, it did not go well this past time with him in Carolina. I think also, though, it was pretty well documented that he wanted C.J. Stroud, not Bryce Young, but Tepper ended up sticking him with Bryce Young instead. On top of that, the Raiders obviously have great connections with Ed Dodds, who interviewed for the GM job. Ed Dodds speaks very highly of Frank Reich, who was with him from 2018 to 2022. Tons of head coaching experience, and has coached some good offenses. And maybe Frank Reich is built just to be a offensive coordinator, somebody who can really only handle the offensive side of the football. However, I do think that Reich is one of the better coaches out there, and if you're able to add somebody that has that experience to your offense, that is very, very important. Here's the other one, though. He worked with Tom Telesco from 2013 to 2015. Where? In the AFC West. And what is the other thing that I'm just seeing time and time again with the Raiders in terms of who they are bringing in for coaches? They're not bringing only in just coaches. They're bringing in people that played in the NFL and also coached. To me, that's Frank Reich, who played in the NFL from 1985 to 98. So you add all of that up together. That is why I believe the secret big-name OC candidate that Hondo Carpenter is referring to is Frank Reich. If you want to take a screenshot of this, if you want to post it on social media, just make sure that you tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. I also want to give you guys a little bit of a scheduling update here around the Raiders Report because we're going to be doing a little bit different things this week. So I'm going to be live with Chugs Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Next Monday, a week from today, I will not be live. We're getting ready for our trip out to Las Vegas. We're going to be out there in Media Row. We're going to be doing a lot of content out there. So Monday, you're not going to get a live show. We will be back then, Tuesday, right before we leave for Vegas Wednesday morning. So the next times that you're going to see us live, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then the following Tuesday, all 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So put it in your calendar right now, and hopefully you're ready to turn up here with the nation. Yes. No, I don't think it's rigged. I'll tell you that right now. I do not think it's rigged. Can you give some shout-outs, though? I am going to switch my jersey here real quick.
Yes, sir. Let me know. Is the NFL rigged? Yes or no? Should be interesting to see the split of yeses and nos in the comment section. So far, the only no is coming from Joe Gatlin. Everybody else has said yes. From Zalesbo, Seth, David Zahn said, hell yeah. Queen Sarah Otto says yes. Yes from Zalesbo. MJ says somewhat. Yes for betting purposes from Unknown Raider Guy. Let's see. Sienna said no. The real crazy news says no. Lil Stogie says no. But Esco says yes. Raphael says yes. Cal G says yes. Rock says yes. Peyton Hurd says no. Luda says yes. Somebody says Dragon Ball 420 says super yes.
The only reason why I don't think that it's rigged, and again, it's not it's probably not a great conversation for a lot of Raider fans here, is because if the NFL was rigged, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every year, and that's it's just. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like that's just the God honest truth.
Not rigged, but manipulated. I feel like that's the same. That's the same thing. That's like being like, oh, I didn't cheat in the game. I manipulated it.
I agree with Marco, and I think that's what you're saying. Not rigged, but yeah, some teams get advantages and favored.
That's rigged.
I don't know if it's. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Were you going over the speed limit? No. I was just going super fast down the highway.
Yeah. Sorry, my dad's texting me, and he's just all over the place right now. Richie, get on YouTube. Ay. All right, let's roll through some super chats here. I want to see if we got any more people in our.
Fitty.
Yep. Let me check this out. I'm going to refresh my phone. So right now we got 6 people in. The next name is Scott Eckert. And Scott, I'm actually going to be wearing your jersey tomorrow here on the Raiders Report. At least that's the plan. I actually have it like right over there. What up, Eric M? Can't wait to see that 86. Are we drinking today? No, not drinking today. I'm not drinking on Tuesday either. We'll do our drinking shows on Thursday and Friday this week. But Eric, I'm not kidding you when I say this, I literally just got probably like 14 jerseys. I've got a bunch of them. But I will do my best to get the rotation in of a whole bunch of new jerseys, because I'll wear 3 tomorrow. I'll wear probably 2 or 3 on Thursday, and then I'll probably wear 2 or 3 on Friday on top of that.
Al says, why don't they just use the UNLV stadium?
No, the visitor locker rooms. UNLV is like, they have their own locker room there, I believe, but I believe that's also...
Oh, you're saying like, instead of them, okay, I thought you meant like, why don't they just use like the UNLV facilities?
No, so UNLV does have their own locker room inside of Allegiant Stadium, and I know that there's like some Raider fans that don't like it because it's the only spot in Allegiant that's just decked out red, and it's literally like when you get, we'll try to do a tour, but when you walk by it, it's just like there's like red, and it's UNLV's, but I don't know if they use that for opposing teams. Like, I don't know if that's like the opposing team's locker room or the home team's locker room, because I do think that they will end up using. I just think it's the opposing teams. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. What's up, John? I got Frank Wright.
He said this before you gave your first. So.
Oh, really?
Torque Lewis says, is Chat Sports a pyramid scheme? Yes, we lure you in with free videos every single day to where you get free content. And
if you watch, your skin gets more tan. You just got to rub it on your skin by hitting that like button.
And if you show 5 of your friends our free content, they also get free content, and you get extra free content.
I mean, my honest question is, how does that thought process even go through your mind?
You want to become a Chat Sports Premium member? If you get 700 people to subscribe, you get a free car.
I'll make you a deal. The next person that hits subscribe, you'll get this show for free the rest of the year.
Funny enough, my mom growing up was reeled into a pyramid scheme.
Really?
Yes. It was this. Sorry to break the news to anybody if they're in this company, but it's called World Venture.
Okay.
And it was literally like, oh, if you get 10 people to sign up, then yours is free, and if they get any more people, then you can start getting money from it. But if not, you're paying for a service that you very rarely use, which is traveling around the world.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. The only pyramid scheme that I can like legitimately remember, there was these like girls in my college that got started with it, and it was like this. It was some like tanning oil. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was. It kind of reminds me from Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you like where she starts doing something. It's like a pyramid scheme. I can't think of it exactly, but that's what it reminded me of.
No,
right.
it's not a pyramid scheme. It's a triangular formational business plan.
The Flying V. Lamont, I'm from Diego. Love the Niners and Raiders equally. My favorite day would be a Niners Nation Super Bowl. Wouldn't care. One bang, Niner gang, go Raider Nation.
Facts.
I'll tell you this right now. That's insane to me what you're saying right now. I don't understand how you can love both teams equally. I mean, again, it is what it is. I know that some people have a favorite team from AFC and NFC, but I can't wrap my mind around that.
Lamont was born in California, so for Petey's rules, he's allowed to root for both teams because that's where he was born.
I know, but that's like...
And you're not allowed to root for the Raiders because you weren't born...
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you can't root for who you want. I could never be a fan of two teams the way that I am a fan for the Raiders, I guess, if that makes sense. Let's go to Xavier. Yesterday was a horrible day. My two most hated teams, Chiefs and the Winers. It was a tough day for everyone. I mean, I said it before when I started the show. Last night, when I went to bed, when I got home last night, heck, even getting up this morning, when the Raiders lose a big football game, and believe me when I tell you this, because we lost plenty of games with Josh McDaniels blowing leads, you go home and you're just like, I'm so frustrated because I'm like, how does it happen? You know, how did it happen? And last night I felt like that. I was like, man, the Chiefs freaking won and a horrible football game. Like, let's be real, that was a shitty game. And then the Lions to blow that lead the way they did. Yesterday was probably the most upset I was in a day that the Raiders did not play. It was tough.
Sean Yos from West Baltimore. The parity that the league sought for so long and attained makes it much easier for refs to tip the scales at critical times. Sean, you might be living in a crazy world because NFL refs never favor any team. That never happens in the NFL. The Chiefs would never get favored calls or, get calls in critical moments. That would never happen, ever.
That's what we were told today.
Don't ever think that it's impossible for any team to get any, favored calls whatsoever.
Yep, I agree.
PG.
What's up, PG? I think the refs have bias for sure.
No. They call every player in every single situation the exact same, no matter how popular that player is or how much the league loves that guy. It doesn't matter, PG.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't know how I've missed this guy's name, but this is from Jeremy Fowler. This is a hell of a name, and I'm glad this guy's not on the Raiders because after a few beer bongs, I'd be in trouble. Can confirm former Seattle DC Clint Hurt is headed to Philly to become the Eagles' defensive line coach. Clint Hurt. There is some SEO juice right there, I'll tell you that. Wow. Zach, I live in Missouri. I cannot hear about the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl in our stadium forever. I will go crazy. I do not want, to me, I'm rooting for the Niners. I'm telling you that right now. Do I want either team to win? No, not really. But when it comes to Super Bowl Sunday, I will be rooting for the San Francisco 49ers. So be ready for that. If you don't want that, hey, that's fine. I still hope that you tune into the show. Hopefully that we still have a good time and whatnot. But I'm going to be rooting for the Niners on Super Bowl Sunday just because I can't handle the Chiefs, man. All right, one more time here. 50-50 raffle, $10 to get in. The names that are in this race right now, Justin Gilbert, Devin D. Jones, 2 for Brian Folsom, Robert D. Liberto, Raider Sancho, Scott Eckert, Philip Boger, and then Kyle Peck. As it stands right now, $10 Venmo for a chance to win $45.
Yoda Jenkins, as we're speaking, Mahomes just demanded another flag.
Delay a game.
I was trying to tell our Chiefs host, I don't know any other quarterback that on a punt comes to the sideline next to the field judge and is arguing the spot of the ball going out of bounds. He's the only one.
Yeah, that was wild. I'm not in the mood. Luis Rod, you in? He's in. So now we're up to 50. Oh, wait, yeah. Winner gets 50.
Somebody does want to say something, and I just want to see. There's 1,000 people in here.
How many FKCs?
How many FKCs can we get in here for our Chiefs host, who apparently did not watch the game yesterday?
No. See, here's what happened. I watched the game. He was not arguing about the punt. He was arguing about the call prior to it on the hold earlier that did not happen, to be honest. It was a holding call. They called it on the prior play that then forced the fourth down that he punted away, and he was calmly talking to the ref about that call, asking him what happened, how that was. He was not arguing. He was very calm, as you said, in his little whatever coat you said. I don't think he was arguing the spot because he was never pointing out anything. He was asking, okay, the hold, what happened? That's just my opinion. You can keep trending FKC all you want. We're still in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. So you'll have fun with that.
All right. So we heard.
As we can confirm, he was at the game and heard Mahomes.
Yeah. He actually was next to him hearing the whole conversation.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Andy Arnold, you in. Andy Arnold, you in. All right, you ready for the next segment? My blood's boiling.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this coffee. I need another coffee. Oh, man. It could be worse. Could have been worse. What you could have done, you could have flew out to San Francisco, and your team could have been up 24-7, and your girlfriend's favorite team is the 49ers, and then you're stuck in San Francisco. I think that could be worse. That would be brutal.
Yeah. That would just be awful.
I can't imagine that happened to anybody, though. Off the top of my head, at least. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, let's talk a little bit about some OCs and quarterback pairing with the amount of conversation that we've had about who the hell is going to be the Raiders quarterback this year and who's going to be the Raiders OC. I do think it's time to sit down and think, all right, in a perfect world, what is your dream OC and QB pairing? You ready?
I'm ready.
You guys ready? Let's get into this one right now.
Can we just keep the FKCs flowing for?
Yeah, keep them going. How many FKCs can we get throughout the entirety of this segment? I think we can do it. I want to get 2,000 FKCs here in the next 10 minutes. Deal?
Yeah.
Deal. Let's go. In a perfect world, who is your dream OC and quarterback pairing? Coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to run through every single Raiders OC candidate and tell you who I would be pairing them with at the quarterback position. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today we're going to be trying to figure out what is the most smart thing to do for the Silver and Black, because you got to make the right hiring at OC. But here's the thing. If you make the right hiring at OC, but you don't pair them with the right quarterback, none of that really matters. So today, I'm going to go through and tell you who I would pair each QB with and who I would pair each OC with to get the best result and hopefully get back to the Super Bowl. So here's the thing, though. When the Raiders do finally announce that they are going to be hiring an offensive coordinator, we will be live here on this show. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. And I'm going to be partying. If I can't party because I don't want the Chiefs or 49ers to win the Super Bowl, at least I'm going to be partying when we hire an OC. So hopefully you pull up with us and we get this thing going. So the numbers that you're going to see next to these OC candidates is how I previously ranked them on a show based off of who I would want the Raiders to hire. So that's all the numbers are that you see. So Mike Sullivan was my 6th ranked offensive coordinator candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders. And if I had to pair him with somebody, I know you probably don't care because this is not somebody that I want, but when he's got a military background, coached and played in the Army, coached in the NFL since 2002 on offense and defense. He was the OC for the Giants in 2015, where they were 6th in points per game. And then in 2016, he was 26th in points per game. I'm telling you right now, I'd be one very upset individual. However, though, if the Raiders did decide to hire Sullivan, I believe that he would likely want to work with a veteran based off of the system that he runs, and it is a very vanilla type of system. In my opinion, the top picks for Mike Sullivan would be Kirk Cousins in free agency, who reportedly is asking for somewhere around $45 million a year. Russell Wilson would be another name to keep in mind. And then Ryan Tannehill, I do think would be the worst case scenario probably in this conversation. But if you don't want to pay $45 million for Kirk, you don't want to bring in Russ Wilson because you don't think he's going to be a good locker room fit, could you sign somebody like Ryan Tannehill for cheap and then go out and draft a quarterback like Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy. Those are the quarterbacks that I think pair best with Mike Sullivan, but if you've watched the show before, I want nothing to do with J.J. McCarthy. Let's go to number 5 here on my list. It's Luke Getsy, former Bears offensive coordinator, and if you're going to bring in Getsy, you better be ready to run the football a lot. The reason why he's number 5 on this list is because when you listen to Antonio Pierce talk about his vision for this Raiders offense going forward, he sounds like he wants to throw the football a lot more, and that's just not where Getsy has had his strengths. He was the Bears offensive coordinator the past 2 seasons. He's been working in the NFL since 2014, and he is going to want to go with a very, very run-heavy type of system. To me, though, if you are going to bring in Getsy, I think that you got to be able to find yourself a mobile quarterback, somebody that's got some athletic ability, because he's going to want to have to get the quarterback to run on top of that. My top picks for Getsy would be Russell Wilson, or I say Justin Fields, but it's just because I don't love this option no matter what for Getsy. Like, I don't want Getsy to be the Raiders offensive coordinator. And do I really think it makes a lot of sense to put Justin Fields back with Getsy? No, I do not. But I'm also sitting up here saying, well, I know Champ Kelly likes Justin Fields a lot. Could they potentially want somebody that already has a relationship with Fields? So if they brought in Getsy, I would guess that they would target Wilson or Fields, or they could look at the draft and try to get somebody like Bo Nix, or roll the dice here a little bit with Spencer Rattler. I'll get into some more pairings here in just a second, but I do got to tell you guys about our sponsor, PrizePicks. Shout out to PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All you got to do is pick 2+ players, choose more or less. It's really as simple as that. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Testing my skills on PrizePicks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. Oh, I make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. If you're wondering what my picks are for the big game, I'm going to go with a special little deal here. I put down 20. I have an opportunity to make $200 if all 4 of these hit. Right now, there's a special deal on PrizePicks. Patrick Mahomes, more than half a passing yard. I think that one's going to happen. Brock Purdy, 11.5 rushing. He had over 50 yesterday on Sunday. And then Isaiah Pacheco, he's going to get 1 touchdown, 7 straight games with a touchdown. And then Kyle Juszczyk had 2 catches against the Ravens, had 3 catches against the Texans. So to me, not the Texans, the Buffalo Bills. For that reason, if he catches 1 football, I get this one on top of that. Here are my picks for the big game. Let me know what your picks are down below. So one more time here, shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Make sure that you use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Let's keep rolling it here with the Raiders OC candidates. At number 4, it's Thad Lewis, quarterback coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Thad is a up-and-coming, if you like Byron Leftwich, if you like the Bruce Arians tree of, hey, man, like, let's air this thing out. Tom Brady also speaks very highly of Thad Lewis. Like, he could be an intriguing candidate. I don't think it's the route the Raiders are going to go because he doesn't have any play-calling experience. But he is somebody that, is starting to get more conversation about at some point will have an opportunity to be an OC. On top of that, he was an NFL quarterback, only 7 starts, but he has that experience playing in the NFL and being a coach. He's also regarded as a good teacher, which I know means a lot to Antonio Pierce. So in terms of who's the quarterback to pair with Thad Lewis, to me, if I'm going to bring in Lewis and I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to still really try to chuck the football and find an athlete, to me, I'm going to try to get a top 3 pick. I'm going to be looking at Jayden Daniels. I'm going to be looking at Caleb Williams and Drake Maye. If I got to go into the free agency pool, I'll say Baker Mayfield. Like, I don't want the Raiders to get Baker Mayfield, and I think I've made that very clear because he's probably going to get somewhere around $25 million per year. However, you bring somebody that has that experience playing with Baker, which is why I think it would be their pick at free agency. Let's get it straight, though. I don't want Baker Mayfield. Let's go to the next candidate here for the Raiders. It's Alex Van Pelt, and he was the Browns quarterback coach from 2020 to 2023. Packers quarterback coach from 2014 to 2017, where he was on the same team as Davante Adams. He was a offensive coordinator one time. This was back in 2009, and Buffalo averaged 16.1 points per game. That was 28th in the NFL. If you're going to bring in Alex Van Pelt, you're more than likely going to want to try to run the football, and their offense is a little bit more conservative than I believe what the Raiders are going to try to do. But what this is backed on is you're going to play really stout defense, and your offense isn't going to lose the game for you. I do believe that he would want to try to roll with a veteran Fields, I think, would be an intriguing option for Van Pelt. That would be the number one pick. Like, if the Raiders are going to go with Justin Fields this year, I believe that Van Pelt's probably going to be your OC. Kirk Cousins would be another option. Russell Wilson would be another option. And then in the draft, in just terms of fit, Bo Nix would be the dude that I believe Telesco would pick because, again, I don't want J.J. McCarthy. Let's go to now number 2 here on the list, and it is Klint Kubiak, right? Well, actually, Jeremy's saying we're going to tell you about Super Bowl here real quick, so that's on me. But if anybody's trying to party with Chugs and I for the big game, listen up. We're going to be at the Ahern Hotel. Here's the time that you should show up. It is free to come and enjoy and, be able to sit down. I know, right? Pause. Hopefully you don't get the tuna. But sit down, have a good time with the entire nation. We will have an opportunity for people to reserve seats, and I'll have an Eventbrite link on that hopefully by our Tuesday live show at 4 p.m. Eastern time. But it's a full bar. You're going to be able to watch the Raiders Report on screen. You're also going to be able to watch the big game on screen, and you're going to be able to pull up with Chugs and I, having some drinks. There's going to be tons of giveaway prizes. I was told there's going to be some Raiders players on top of that. And we always get wet and wild on this show, and I want y'all to be able to get a little wet and wild too with us. So it's a cool opportunity to be able to sit down, shake some hands, have some food together, have some drinks together, watch the Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, if it's Chiefs-Niners, I got to be able to figure out a way to make it enjoyable. To me, I'd rather watch out with my friends and family. From what I understand, the deals will be $90 for all you can eat, $160 for all you can eat and drink. I promise you this, if you do not think that that's a great deal, you haven't been out to Las Vegas recently, because anymore it seems like just a few beers and it's that price. It's an awesome deal. It's going to be a great buffet. It's going to be a great time. Put this in your calendar. Hope to see you out there. Let's go to number 2 here. As you already know, Klint Kubiak, pass game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Now remember, since the Niners ended up getting a win, the Raiders still can't meet with him in person yet for an interview, and I've been saying for a while that Kubiak is an unbelievable hire. I think he'd be an incredible fit with the Raiders. The reason why he's number 2 on my list is more just because of what I think it might mean down the road if you're not able to get certain people. However, though, in my perfect off-season plan for the Silver and Black, I had Kubiak as my OC because I thought there was a lot of ties. I think he'd be able to fit into this team really, really well. And based off of some of the quarterbacks that he's worked with previously, I think it's going to determine where he goes. Like, I'm telling you right now, if Klint Kubiak is the Raiders' OC, I might say that Kirk Cousins is the most likely option for the Raiders at quarterback. Why? Devontae Adams has already said that, hey, I wouldn't mind playing with Kirk. And then on top of that, Kubiak and Cousins back from 2019 to 2021 were putting up some pretty damn good numbers. If you miss big on Kirk Cousins, the cheaper option then could be Ryan Tannehill, since Kubiak has worked with him in the past. And then in the draft, if you trade up into the top 3 and Kubiak's your OC, I'll say it right now, I believe Drake Maye would be a better fit in a Klint Kubiak system than Caleb Williams, than Jayden Daniels. The other quarterback where if you want to go Ryan Tannehill for a stopgap 1 year, and then you want to go the cheaper route in the draft by not trading up and hopefully Bo Nix falls you in the second round, or you trade up into the back end of the first because you're not taking Bo Nix at 13, this could be an intriguing option for Kubiak. These are the quarterbacks that I believe that fit his scheme the best. For a programming schedule, that way, if you're wondering, well, Mitch, when are you going to be live over the next week? I got you covered here. I'm going to be live Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time this week. Next Monday, I'm telling you right now, I will not be live. Jeremy and I got to get ready for the Super Bowl. We're going to be heading out there. We're going to be on Media Row, hanging out with a bunch of people from the nation and a bunch of NFL players, coaches, all that kind of good stuff. A lot of good interviews coming up. And then I will be live, though, on Tuesday, right before our flight on Wednesday. So this is just for this week, just so you know when we're going to be live here on the show. Number 1 has been Kliff Kingsbury, and he's been number 1 on my list because it's always been the route I have thought that the Raiders are going to go. I don't know if they decided to not go with Kliff Kingsbury, who they potentially would end up going with. Like, if it's between candidates, it better be Klint or it better be Kliff, right? But if they don't want to wait on Klint and they want to hire somebody this week, I think that this is where Kingsbury kind of comes into this conversation. And based off of a lot of things of what Antonio Pierce said, he's going to want to add a lot more speed. He wants to be able to air the ball down the field, and Kingsbury is going to be aggressive. Like, I know a lot of people are scared based off of his, we'll call it past, with not being a successful head coach, but I don't need him to be a good head coach. I need him to be a good offensive coordinator, and Kliff's run some pretty solid offenses the last time that I checked. So to me, I do think that he should be trusted with a veteran or a rookie. Like, if he wants to say, hey, I want to be able to go out and I want my guy, like, it's an option. some of you might be wondering, well, why isn't Kyler Murray on here? If I'm Kliff Kingsbury, I don't know if I want Kyler Murray. Like, Kyler Murray might have lost me my job, right? Top picks, though, if you bring in Kliff, to me, I'm trading or I'm getting my quarterback. I'm going to try to go up and get Caleb Williams. I'm going to try to go up and get Jayden Daniels. If you're like, no, Mitch, we're not trading up into the top 3. The other quarterback that I think fits a spread offense based on the draft is Michael Penix Jr. So to me, these would be your 3 top options for the Las Vegas Raiders if you brought in Kliff Kingsbury to BOC. So I started this show with this question, and I'm going to end it with this question because to me, I'm going to tell you 3 options of if this ended up happening, I would be through the moon for the Raiders. And again, it's perfect world, dream OC, and quarterback pairing. For me personally, here are my 3 dream perfect world OC and quarterback pairings. First one is this, and it's not really ranked in any particular order. I'm just trying to showcase it to you. Kliff Kingsbury and Caleb Williams. They obviously have a connection from USC. I think Caleb Williams has all the talent in the world, and to me, if you're going for a home run swing, if Kliff offense works and Caleb turns out to be that dude, you got somebody that's going to be competing for the AFC West, for the AFC Championship, for Super Bowls every year. Kliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels. If Jayden Daniels is your guy, go get him, Antonio Pierce. Figure out a way to make it happen. And then the last one is Klint Kubiak and Drake Maye. Spoiler alert. Shouldn't surprise anybody. I want the Raiders to try to get either Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, or Drake Maye this year. I don't want to settle for Kirk Cousins. I don't want to settle for Russell Wilson. I don't want to settle for Justin Fields. If I'm going to sit up here and say dream scenario, perfect world, it ends with one of these 3 quarterbacks under center or in the shotgun for the Las Vegas Raiders this year. To make sure that you never miss anything going on around the silver and black, especially this time of the year, because anybody can talk about the Raiders football during the regular season. Now it's the offseason. This is where rumors are starting to become more and more relevant, are we not? Like, I was live on a show a few days ago. I said, I'm telling you right now, Zach Robinson, 0% chance he's going to be the next Raiders OC. People are like, why do you say that? Connect the dots. Chugs connected the dots. We were able to put it together. Then a source reached out, says, hey, he's going to be going with, I almost said Arthur Smith, with Atlanta, with Raheem Morris. Bottom line is, this is the time of the year to make sure you're here on YouTube, following us on social media, because it's our job, and we're going to keep you up to date more than anybody out there. That I can promise you. Oh, man, Super Bowl plans. Ahern, catch me there.
Yes, sir.
Ahern, catch me there.
Catch me at the Ahern.
Catch me outside. How about that? All right, how about this? 50-50 raffle, $10 Venmo to get in, and let us know what your Super Bowl plans are, because
Are you thinking about coming out and hanging out with us?
are you coming to Ahern? Y for yes, N for no. Who's pulling up? Are you thinking about pulling up to Ahern? Y for yes, N for no. How about that, Jesse? What's up? How about that? What up, Spivey? Been a Raider fan forever. I don't hate the Niners, but I just don't care much Super Bowl. I'm a Niner fan. Oh, wait. Super Bowl. I'm a Niner fan. FKC, Raiders and Dodgers in my blood. Raider Nation for life. I don't hate the Niners, but I just don't care much. All right, so you're saying for the Super Bowl, you're going to be a Niner fan,
Yeah.
FKC.
He's
reading.
basically saying he's indifferent about the Niners, and he hates Kansas City.
I got you. I see that. Which I know there's a lot of people out there like that. I just don't want to see Kansas City win anymore. What up, Lamont?
Rebel says plan beating Marsh.
Pause. Lamont, just saying, hate Rams and Chargers. Raiders need fresh quarterback. If we get a hurt Cousins or lazy Wilson, what after that could they get? AP fired, need fresh QB, root for the Niners here. What I don't like about the idea of bringing in Kirk Cousins is, and I kind of laid this out in a show a few weeks, maybe a week and a half ago, where if you're the Raiders, you're bringing in a brand new staff, right? You're bringing in a brand new offensive staff from top to bottom. Don't you want your brand new staff to be able to work with the quarterback? And Cousins is not going to be able to practice probably until, at best, let's say he's able to practice in June. So that means you're going to go a long time with nobody really being able to get work in. And then even that, if you're the Raiders, are you going to risk it? Because it was reported today that Kirk Cousins, apparently from Minnesota, is looking for about a 2-year deal, $90 million fully guaranteed. And everybody's like, oh, it's so much. Here's the thing, though. Kirk Cousins has only gotten fully guaranteed deals. His last deal with Minnesota was 3 for $84, fully guaranteed. His years before that was franchise tag.
You do 1 for $45.
1 year for $45 million for Kirk. Like, I just don't think it's a smart thing to do.
No.
Coming off an Achilles, you can't work with anybody on that offense for the entire offseason. Like, to me, it's in history, in life, you got to learn from your mistakes. You just had a whole offseason with a banged-up quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kirk Cousins is better than Garoppolo, but also Jimmy G was significantly worse coming off of his injury than what everybody has suspected. What if Kirk Cousins takes a step back? Like, what if he's not as good as what he was? Then what? Then you're with a worse Kirk Cousins. Like, at $45 million, at $40 million a year. I just don't love that idea. I do not love the idea.
Rich Wolf.
Rich, born and raised here in Oakland, Hayward. I'm sorry, but I will never, ever root for Gangbang Weiner Gang. I'm sorry. Going with Kermit's team once again. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. You don't got to apologize to me, man. This one is hard for a lot of people. I actually think this is a more difficult game for people in your situation than somebody in my situation. I'm not from Cali.
It's just like the South Park episode. You can either vote for a turd sandwich or a douche.
I guess I'd probably vote for a douche.
I'm team turd sandwich.
Yeah?
If you root for anybody but turd sandwich, then you're not a real Raiders fan.
I'll say this. I haven't watched that South Park episode.
Oh,
so I'm guessing you're referring to real people now.
It's hilarious.
I was literally thinking, like, if somebody gave you two pieces of bread with a turd in it or a douche, I'm taking a douche.
No, literally. Here, wait.
There's now I'm confused. Though with South Park, you just never know. Born in L.A. from Miguel. I hear you, man. I rooting for a division rival is wild. I know it's wild, but you got to think about it. Like, rivalries are different
for a new
people.
mascot, and those are the two.
Oh, yeah, I'm going douche.
Oh, turd sandwich.
No way, man. I can't do it.
And it's on the importance of voting.
Oh, they're voting for the school mascot from Taino. I should have known Taino would know that. You guys are all linked up. You guys are all synced up. It's kind of cute.
John Scheffler.
What's up, Sheffy? Listen, I get it. I don't want either team to win the Super Bowl, but if you're a Raider fan that lives in the Bay Area, there's no way you want the Niners. I get it. I think I do get it.
I think it's regional for Raider fans because if you're on the West Coast, obviously you have to deal with Niner fans more. If you're in the middle of the country, you have to deal with Chiefs fans more.
Yeah. Or if you're like us in Dallas, you don't really got to deal with that many from. Though I would actually say I think there's more Chiefs fans here in Dallas than Niners fans. I might be biased in saying that because some of my good friends are Chiefs fans, but also like one of Alex's bridesmaids, she's a Chiefs fan. Heck, her dog's named Chief. Like,
that's lame.
Yeah, it's a black dog too. It's like better. It would have been better as Raider. All right, I'm going to refresh one more time here. Final call for our 50-50 raffle. The last name that I saw that I got in was Andy Arnold. You in. Anthony Green in. Nicholas Castro in. Aggressive. You in. James Guevara in twice. So that means we are now at 16 people, which means winner gets $80. $10 Venmo for a chance to win $80 here on the Raiders Report. Chugs, I'm going to send you all these names here. And then after this, y'all, we are going to get the heck out of here. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in to today's show. Mondays are a little bit shorter. Tomorrow, we're going to be live again at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the days that we do 3 segments. Hopefully, the Raiders end up hiring an OC sooner rather than later. But if not, hey, you know, it's at this point, it is what it is. We still got 1,000 people here, though, in the chat. I appreciate that. Sammy77, Otten Peter, David Arella, William Venroy Jr., Tadashi. What's up, Caps Keenan, Jesse, Rafael Murillo, Raiders Rebel Unleashed. Shout out to all y'all for tuning in to today's show. All right, final refresh here. I don't have any more, so anything else that I get, it's going into Chugs Barkley Fund. Winner gets $80. Ready? 3, 2, I just realized 69 seconds. 1, let's go. This looks like a douche versus a turd sandwich. The winner is the mascot. Raider Sancho out to an early lead. Now he's going to fall back between Devin Jones. I'll tell you what, this one looks like an interesting race here. James Guevara, I don't know. Is that ketchup? I have no idea what that is.
Ketchup bottle.
Then, I mean, is that a hot dog from James Guevara?
Yep.
Anthony Green's in a chicken costume. Devin D. Jones, that looks like almost like a Build-A-Bear. Philip Bogert's in a cat outfit. You got Gilbert here, wants to be a bee. Sancho's a penguin.
I don't know what Brian Folsom is. Maybe a
banana. Oh, he's got two of them, though. Scott Eckert's a frog. Kyle Peck
is that a soy sauce? I don't know what Brian Folsom is.
I have no idea.
Kyle Peck.
Looks like Maggie.
Is a
princess, which is it's kind of cute. Eckert, I want to say, is a dinosaur. And Eckert, has he got a key in his hand or is he a frog? I don't know, but he's got the lead by just a key. I think who's pulling up here? Is that Luis? Luis Rodriguez in the Josh McDaniels outfit.
What is he doing?
Somebody go check on Luis. Luis, you all right, man? I'm worried about you. Luis Rodriguez, it has been a minute since you have won. I mean, we're talking, I want to say Luis enters every single race that we do. And the last time Luis won, honestly.
Wow, this one was maybe one of the closest races. Look at where they all finished, Mitch.
November 16th was the last time Luis won.
Look how close this was.
Who gets the butthole pick? Of course. Oh, congrats to Luis Rodriguez. Luis, can you confirm with me down below that you just received $80?
And aggressive, you'll be hearing from us later.
Mitch, how do you got becoming Raiders OC? Who do I think is going to be the Raiders OC? Kliff Kingsbury. That's who I think ends up getting the job. Congrats, though, to Luis. And remember, the next time that you're going to see us here live on the Raiders Report is going to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So be on the lookout for that. And I just need you to put this into your calendar. I want as many Raider fans as we can possibly get to pull up, because if this event goes well, then there's an opportunity for Chugs and I to be out there every single game in the 2024 season, which I would love for that possibility. I would love for us to be able to go out and tailgate before it happened. What? Let's save it for tomorrow. I like it, though. All right, Miguel, Travis, Sienna, Silent, Old Timer. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific.